The state of the silver and gold markets and coin markets are shifting, and I have some feedback from my trip to the World Money Fair, where I got to speak with loads of different mints and producers of coins, and some really interesting insights to share. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a precious metal ramble. Everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for another Precious Metal Ramble. I was at the World Money Fair a few weeks ago, and it was an incredible event. I picked up some beautiful bits of silver, like these kookaburras and the Australian Lunar Dragon. But one of the best things I picked up was all of the insights that I gleaned from speaking with so many incredible people at various different mints and private dealers and manufacturers of coins from all around the world. So I want today to do a bit of a debrief on that and share some of those insights that I have gleaned about the state of the coin world, the markets for silver and gold, and just really share, I think, where things might be going from the perspectives of some of the big dealers out there. Now, do bear in mind that this is not a future predicting video. I am not going to sit here and tell you that they or I know what is going to be happening come a year's time, 2 years' time, 5 years' time. But I think it is interesting nonetheless, and it would be great to hear your thoughts and opinions if you have similar thoughts down in that comment section. And if you are enjoying our video as we go, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. So, very interesting to speak with a lot of the big mints out there and private manufacturers of coins. The one thing that I wanted to ask everyone that I met was, how's business going for you? Because there is no hiding from the fact that over the last 18 months or so, with all of the inflation issues and massive price hikes and rises that we've seen just in cost of living and manufacturing and doing anything in this world, it would be interesting to see where these perspectives are for the mints. And the vast majority really quite openly and honestly admitted that it had been a tough year. I reflect on that by going, there's only really one of two reasons if a particular mint or organisation said, no, it was fine, it was great, everything was absolutely hunky-dory. We've had the best year ever. And that's because they were doing something completely radical and different, or they're just not being as truthful as perhaps they could or should be about this last year. It's been tough. 99% of all coin makers and sellers out there have experienced issues over the last 4 years, whether it be the supply of silver, the manufacturing process, the lags, the lead times, or the passing of the Queen has caused quite a few issues. We'll touch on a little bit more about that. But for example, we have here a coin released in 2024 from a 2022 date with the Queen on it. You know, there are delays that are happening that are causing issues for coin manufacturers and dealers out there all around the world. So it was refreshing to get actually a large degree of honesty from 99% of the companies out there. There's some face saving, I think, that happens from certain organisations. I'm not going to name the one organisation that said everything was great and that they're having a fantastic time, but I think we can all imagine who it might be and how they are sometimes a little bit deluded. I'm betting a lot of you can guess it down in the comment section down below. But generally speaking, I think it's refreshing to get a lot of that honesty from people. Now, one thing that I noticed personally from walking around the fair was that there are, of course, a lot of incredible bullion companies, national mints making incredible coins that are bog standard, like the Britannias, like the Maples, Eagles, whatever it might be. The big producers of bars like Pamp were out in force and their products were great. But one thing that I think is interesting is that there has been a huge shift in the market in the last 5-6 years towards a more kind of collectible bullion market. We've seen the rise of the Germania Mint and others. This is a coin from the Austria Mint that we will be showcasing actually on Friday, along with its 2-ounce high relief gold gilded version. It's a stunning piece, and this whole rise in the market of premium bullion, I think, is in response to the fact that bullion can be sometimes quite boring. It can really be just about stacking as much as possible. Getting milky, horrible toned coins at cheap rates is fine for some people, but it really doesn't, instill the soul with a bunch of exciting thoughts about collecting coins and so on. So that whole market has grown, and the amount of new mints that are out there. I've brought on a bunch of new sponsors from this event. We've got others to showcase as we go throughout. But it is inevitable that some of these mints bringing out these new products, they're competing with each other, and that competition is both a good and bad thing. There are issues at the moment around premiums, and a lot of these companies were really honest about the year that they've had and how things have been going, which again is really refreshing to see. And if they bring out a product, though, this is the point, if they bring out a product which is really good, which is forging new boundaries. I don't know what the phrase is, we're going to go with that. If they're forging new boundaries, if they're producing products which are exciting and hugely popular with the general masses, then it won't matter if it's premium. And that's why I said earlier, if a particular organization says, yeah, last year it was fine, we had a great year last year. As I said, there's one of two reasons. They're either lying or they've done something different to their competitors. In a market like this, in a tough market like this, you have to push beyond boundaries. You have to fix problems that you are having. You have to really engage with your customer base and find out what they want and really deliver on those products. And there are a few mints out there that are really doing that. There is one mint that I think is pretty questionable, and I haven't done a video fully on this yet, and I don't really want this to be a full kind of moaning video about the Royal Mint, but ultimately there are some issues at the Royal Mint that need to be addressed. One of them, a fantastic YouTube channel called Bullion Now. If you haven't seen their video, I'll link it down in the description below. I think it starts at around 36 minutes into their live stream, where they talk about their discussions with the Royal Mint about milk spotting. And, they have some really strong feelings on the subject, but the Royal Mint have no feelings on the subject. They say there is no problem. They have no data to reflect the fact that there is milk spotting issues on their coins, and the Britannias in particular. And that's a very similar reply to what I got from the Royal Mint when I went up there and visited them. They have absolutely no problems with it from a data perspective, from a customer perspective, so why should they bother trying to rectify it? However, from my perspective, what I will say is, we've got here on this table a bunch of old silver maples. These are just some of the cheapest, nastiest bullion that you can get with horrible milk spotting. They're all pre-18s, where the Canadian Mint then did their mint shield. And the hilarious thing was, when I was at the Royal Mint, the question I put to them was, well, the Canadian Mint has solved the problem. They've got mint shield, and now all their maples are not milky. And the Royal Mint said, they haven't solved the milk problem, they've just done a marketing gimmick. But I then countered by, but they haven't got milk anymore on their coins, so I don't understand. So there's definitely some culture issues at play, and what I think is interesting is that those national mints out there that are doing things to improve their products, doing things to make things better for their customers and consumers, are the ones that will thrive going forwards. And I don't see that happening with the Royal Mint. I'm really interested in this next little project that I'm doing, and I'm going to give anyone listening to the 8th minute of my rambles on the subject a little bit of a sneak preview on what we're going to be doing. So I've been doing a few videos on the Royal Mint lately where I say it's royally screwed. The pricing on some of the historic coins that they're bringing out is just borderline atrocious. And I reached out to the press office and have had some really very poor replies, quite frankly, from them about the situation. I'm now waiting for a further reply from another person within the Royal Mint before I sort of publish these things. I have also taken it upon myself to spend my own money to buy one of these ridiculously overpriced, incredibly poor condition historic coins, and we'll see what I actually get for my money. Potentially, if it's really awful, I will be sending it off to NGC for grading, because if it comes back and it's less than the grade that they would expect to have, then the Royal Mint are going to be in they're going to be in for some fun little backyard bullion ramble-y trouble, I think is the best way to put it. So yeah, there's going to be some interesting insights coming on that, but it just shows, again, the experience that Bullion Now had from the Royal Mint was very much, there's nothing wrong, the engines aren't on fire. But I didn't get that sense from a lot of the other mints out there. Speaking with the Perth Mint, their goal is to create the most beautiful products at the highest quality. And I tell you this for now, when I got into the World Money Fair, first thing, 10 o'clock, Friday morning, doors open, first in the doors. I had my ticket pre-booked. We got there pretty early, so I was pretty up there in the queue. Let me tell you, I got to the Perth Mint stand and there was already a snaking queue. They were like hotcakes. These coins, the kookaburras, the World Money Fair kookaburras with special coloured edition, people, oh my goodness, were queuing up for ages. 63 euros a coin. So that's what, £55 an ounce for a premium 1 ounce coloured coin with a limited mintage of 2,500. And let me tell you, they were queuing out the door for these. So there is, I think, a plentiful market out there for things done right. And talking with the people at the Perth Mint, that's what they want to do. They want to get the perfect coins out there for their customers. They don't want to be known for awful coins and for bad pricing. But I can't say so much as other mints. There are plenty of private mints that are also striving for that new step forward, that innovative product, that new interesting thing that's going to light the coin world. And I have to say that the Germanium Mint is up there with a lot of their products and a lot of their ideas and a lot of their marketing and various different, they have a brand, and branding is so important. And I think that there are some out there that just rely on the brand that they maybe have and the slogans that they put in, 1,000 years worth of experience, which is not actually as much as it's cracked up to be. So yeah, I didn't really mean this video to be kind of an anti-Royal Mint one, but I was going to go directly to the Royal Mint stand and have a real long discussion with them about the pricing of historic coins. But after a very brief sort of talk with one of their staff members there, just generally about how things were going, it was clear that they don't really have the personnel there that are right to answer those questions. And it wasn't really going to be appropriate for me to just sit there and moan about the pricing of historic coins. But yeah, it's telling. I think it is telling. Now, from the last little part of this video, I want to do a little perspective on dealers and how dealers were perceiving coins to be bought out there in the European Union. Generally, things are really popular at the moment. So we have now seen a closing off of the Estonian VAT VAT exempt, or zero rated, I should say, silver. For those that don't know, back 4 years ago, I think it was 2021, maybe 3 years ago, that Brexit route closed and we were no longer able to buy VAT-free silver from Estonia. I met up with the owner of the European Mint. If you guys have been watching my channel for a long time, you'll remember him. And I was always very sad that we sort of closed down those group orders. And I asked him, I said, how's things going? And he was honest. He said, it's been a tough year, but post the group orders closing and we put through €1 million worth of business with him over the course of those couple of years of doing those things. And I was a bit worried that that would be a massive loss of sort of revenue stream for him. And he said that the European market stepped up, and he wasn't going to sit there and lie that it was an easy year, but things have been moving and he wants to continue to grow, which is great to hear. We'll talk more about the European Mint in due course, and there's hopefully some exciting things to be partnering with them at some point in the future. It's good to meet old friends, and I think that was a really good thing to do. And from other dealers' perspectives out there, just walking around the stands, seeing what's out there there were a lot of people who were very interested in buying coins, and I have to say, things like these kind of coins, the maple leafs, the really milky ones, you could pick these up for I think there were deals out there for about €23 each if you really dug through and got some of the really bad ones. So €23 at the time was about £19 something, 19.20 an ounce, something like that. Spot when I was out there was about 18.50, something like that. So 75p over spot price for the silver at the stand. Now in Europe, you have to charge VAT, so I don't know whether that's a second-hand margin scheme that they're doing at the fair. It was just the price you pay. I don't have to worry about that anymore, but bringing it back into the country, you have to have only a certain amount. You've got an allowance of £390 worth of goods to bring back. So I brought back my allocation of goods as well as some of the other products that I'd been given. So it wasn't a lot, but I think I ended up bringing back like 15 ounces of bullion silver, just because that was all I could have in my allowance after having bought some of my other bits and bobs that I wanted. So yeah, all told, it was, I think, a really interesting experience at the fair. There was certainly a lot to digest, and I know I'll probably be, I will definitely be going back there next year, and I think it would be very telling to see how this next year of 2024 goes and whether it will be a different story. In terms of where, I haven't really I could talk on this for ages, so in terms of where the markets are going to go, I asked a few of them how they perceived 2024 was going to be, and I think that a lot of them are expecting markets to settle, but also prices to drop. So we've seen premiums drop quite a lot, but the general theme was that they expect metal prices to drop a little bit over the course of the year. They don't expect it to be a rising cost situation for raw materials. So I think that was interesting, and of course not an exact predictor of where the markets will be. But I can somewhat sympathise, and when we see, like this very morning, when we get inflation data for the UK coming out, where it's set at 4% again, which is higher than the targets, of course, and it's still not great that it's at a higher rate. It's obviously not, sustained at those 10% levels. It's still coming down in that sense that we are seeing that reduction over that longer period. Hopefully it will continue to drop. But the fact that it hasn't dropped means that interest rates are going to hold steady. So from my perspective, I see precious metals probably hovering around where they kind of are for the time being. And then if we start to get more growth and we start to see interest rates potentially coming down, we'll see precious metals come down a little bit as well. So it will be interesting to see where things go, I think is probably the best way to put it. So for that, we'll only have to wait and see what 2024 can yield. Otherwise, we have got a lot of content to get through over the next couple of weeks. We've got some really great coins starting this weekend with Friday's In Focus Friday. We're going to have a look at this incredible, cool Camelot coin. It's a stunner. It's great. The Austria Mint doing incredible things. We're then going to follow that up with a Peaky Blinders themed coin. Absolutely incredibly cool piece from PIK Coins. That will be out on Saturday. So there it is. It's a stunner. We're going to have a good close look at that. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a guest speaker. I haven't looked at the remaining slots left, but I think it's going to be a good one. So if you haven't subscribed and you're watching now, goodness me, to the 17th minute of our video, then you should have a good hard reflection about why you're not subscribed to my channel and hit that subscribe button. A big thank you to any of my ramblers who have listened to the end of my inane tangential ramblings. I do appreciate it. And to the Cool Kids Club members, I salute thee and say thank you. We'll see you on the next video. As always, thanks for watching. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.